From WWLTV, the spirit of Louisiana, this is Louisiana's news leader, Channel 4's Eyewitness News Nightwatch.
Good evening, I'm Katie Moore. Thanks for joining us. The city is mourning the loss of a New Orleans institution. Meteorologist Nash Roberts died this afternoon at the age of 92. The city's first TV meteorologist and a man whose calm and simple hurricane forecasts became the stuff of local legend. Nash died this afternoon after a lengthy illness. We begin our coverage with Dennis Woltering and a look back at the career of this true New Orleans icon.
There is a series of waves along just south of the Canadian border.
How can just a simple felt tip marker help write such an important chapter of New Orleans history? Easy when it's in the hands of Nash Roberts, standing in front of a map calmly and skillfully explaining the weather, often when it mattered most during a hurricane.
The people east of the river are having high tides now, and it'll continue to rise.
Simply put, for more than 50 years, when Nash Roberts spoke, people listened. During his 5 decades on local television, the man everyone called by just one name, Nash, became a local institution. So much so that whenever Mother Nature would threaten, viewers would ask, "What does Nash say?" to gauge the impact of a hurricane or tropical storm. As the city's first on-air meteorologist, he was a presence on New Orleans TV sets for decades. But Nash would admit that it was the science and not the style which he valued most.
I said, look, I'm not going to act about anything else. I'm just simply going to analyze the weather and tell them what I think is going to happen.
A New Orleans native, Nash served in the Navy during World War II, even becoming the first meteorologist to fly into the eye of a typhoon in the Pacific to gather information. In 1946, just back from the war, Nash took the $3,500 he had saved up and opened the first weather consulting office in the South. His clients were oil companies and the maritime industry. A few years later, television came calling. But at first, Nash said no, at least until a local advertising man made him an offer he could not refuse, starting with a trip to Chicago.
He said, I will pay your way up there and back and introduce you to a guy who doesn't know beans about weather and is making $80,000 a year doing weather shows. I said, well, I'll go. So
Nash's TV career began in 1948 when he was hired by the local NBC affiliate to help track the path of a hurricane. 3 years later, he signed on as a full-time meteorologist. Predicting the weather was one thing, tracking hurricanes was something else. But Nash did both very well, and New Orleanians came to depend on his forecasts, from Audrey in 1957, to Betsy in 1965, Camille in '69, and Georges in 1998. Nash was there.
it shows that it's past the mouth of the Mississippi River now, just past it.
As for the pen that would write his chapter in history, Nash gave credit for that to his father-in-law, who sold office supplies.
Among his articles that he sold was an outfit called Vaporite pens. And they were felt tip pen with a fast drying ink in them. And I said, let me try them. And I've never stopped.
Even when the high-tech tools of his trade seemed to pass him by, Nash used a lifetime of knowledge to educate and inform his audience, serving as a rock of stability during trying times.
I enjoyed my profession. I just got lucky and got into something I really liked. And it was fascinating because every day somebody had a problem, weather problem.
Nash came to WWL-TV in 1978 after stints at 2 other local stations, and even when he retired from daily weathercasting in the 1980s, he would not go far. With his consulting business next door, he was always on call for Channel 4 in case a hurricane threatened. And as a true Renaissance man, he always kept a hand in many different fields. A pilot and businessman who was also a teacher, a farmer, a beekeeper, and a Christmas tree grower.
I'm a dreamer. Still dream. Still see things that I'd like to do, see done or could be done better. And I'm just interested in a lot of things.
But in 2001, Nash gave it all up for his one great love, the love of his life, Lydia. His wife of more than 60 years had been stricken with a mysterious disease that stole her sight and left her bedridden.
I actually prayed that I would outlive her so I could take care of her, and that's the way it's working out. I've had so much luck, good luck in my life, that I can handle a little some bad luck. I've been very, very fortunate.
Nash retired to care for his wife, and when Hurricane Katrina struck in 2005, the couple did something they had never done before: evacuate New Orleans. Yet during Katrina and all throughout his retirement, Nash was never far from people's minds or their hearts. That's the way it had been for most of their lives. But even after guiding generations of New Orleanians through rough weather, this gentle giant of local broadcasting was always humble, even when asked to sum up the imprint he made here in his hometown.
Nash, let me ask you, people have literally grown up with you. In fact, they've had grandchildren that have grown up with you now. How would you like to be remembered to New Orleanians?
I guess the best thing that I could think of is he was one of the good guys. That's all. That's about as much as I could hope.
What a legend. Nash is survived by 3 brothers, 2 sons, 4 grandchildren, and several great-grandchildren. Funeral arrangements are still being finalized, but will likely be private. Our own Angela Hill had the pleasure of working with Nash for many years before his retirement. She says he would want to be remembered as an honest man, one who valued family, a man whose expansive knowledge of meteorology made him so reliable and so accurate.
Not only was he just this phenomenal weather guy, but he was a farmer, he was a beekeeper, he was a superb father. And I think the thing that stands out the most was the phenomenal relationship he had with his wife. And I remember interviewing him when he retired, and he looked me straight in the eyes and said, "I am retiring because I'm going to go take care of my wife." And he did until the day she died. Later, when I interviewed him, when on his 90th birthday, we talked about Lydia, and he cried. He still loved her. And so when I heard this today, I said, oh, they're together.
Those who knew and worked with Nash Roberts over the years remember him as an authority figure who was also down to earth. As Monica Hernandez reports, some of those who knew him best here at Channel 4 spent the evening reflecting on the man he was and the legend he became.
You know that I was really worried about any little change in course.
For those who watched, Nash Roberts was the meteorologist with an uncanny accuracy and a felt tip marker. But for those who knew him, Nash was so much more.
Nash was everything. He was a legend. He was rich. He was famous. He was everything. And it had no effect on him whatsoever. He's just the nicest guy in the world.
And for many, his loss marks the end of an era.
We'll never see his kind again.
He was a one of a kind, and his loss, he's irreplaceable. There will never be another Nash Roberts in New Orleans.
The only local forecaster to accurately predict the paths of Hurricane Betsy and Camille, Nash Roberts became the stuff of weather legend.
He was kind of a genius in being able to read the same charts everybody else did, but pulled something out of it.
I think Nash was not only known here, but he was known nationally. Many people would talk about the meteorologist that would give his own hurricane forecast from New Orleans.
He truly became an icon at Hurricane Betsy because everyone was scared to death of what Betsy could have done. So everyone was locked in on what Nash had to say. And from that point on, from Betsy on, Nash's word was weather law.
But it wasn't just his just the facts way of giving the weather that left a mark on New Orleans.
Everything he accomplished in life, what he was what everybody loved. It wasn't the weatherman. It wasn't the knowledge. It wasn't the ability to make money. There was something magic, that charisma thing that he had nobody else had. He was a unique man. We're all going to miss him.
Monica Hernandez, Eyewitness News Nightwatch.
We have much more on Roberts' long career predicting hurricanes on our website, WWLTV.com. You can also leave your memories and condolences in the comments section. We'll be right back.